When Mega Pyroar was first added to Pokemon Champions, it felt like a lot of people thought that this Pokemon would be just incredibly mediocre and that you wouldn't really have too much of a reason to use it over something like Mega Charizard. Well, it turns out that Mega Pyroar does indeed have a ton of potential in the format, and a big reason for this is because it has one of the best base speed stats in the game at 126. This is a lot faster than Mega Charizard Y and means that you'll be able to outpace things like Max Speed Sneasler, Mega Frostlass, as well as Mega Metagross. In addition, the ability Fireman allows you to boost your damage output for Fire-type moves by 50%. When you combine that with Sunsetters like regular Kanto Ninetales as well as Torkoal, Mega Pyroar becomes one of the biggest offensive threats in the format. One of the best players in the seniors division, Matteo, just won an online tournament with a team featuring Mega Pyroar like he built. Matteo is coming off a second place finish at the North American International Championships and combined Mega Pyroar with things like Sunny Day Whimsicott as well as Choice Scarf Ninetales. In my opinion, this is the best Mega Pyroar team so far in the format and really establishes Mega Pyroar as a top meta threat. And just to back up that claim a little bit more, there was a huge online tournament with almost 900 players participating in it this past weekend. What's interesting is that most of the top teams, as you can see, featured just old Mega Evolutions that we were already used to seeing, as well as teams that had been already established in the previous regulation. One of the best teams, though, with a brand new Mega Evolution, of course, was Mega Pyroar, piloted by Elizabeth, who is one of the best players and team builders over from Japan, and it's the exact same 6 as the team that we just talked about. So I think that this team is the #1 Mega Pyroar team to beat right now. I've seen other versions that have succeeded with things like Venusaur, Scrafty, as well as Mamoswine, and so all of those are very strong as well. But given the early tournament results for this composition specifically, I think you definitely need to be prepared for it. Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the Pokemon Champions VGC ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We're continuing our coverage of the brand new Mega Evolutions in Regulation MB, and in this video, we'll be covering Mega Pyroar. I've already done videos on Mega Staraptor and Electros, and so if you're interested in learning more about those, check out the videos linked down in the description below. Now, I wasn't expecting Pyroar to actually have this much success early on the format, but after trying out this team, it is a very real meta threat, and I think that this team is here to stay as we continue to play this regulation. So I took it for a spin on the ladder, and as you might be able to tell, did pretty well with it. So as always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you're interested in trying out the team, the Replica ID is on the screen, and there's also an accompanying Pokepaste down in the description below. Also, there's a really great team report on this on YouTube featuring Matteo, the original team creator, so please go check that out. I've linked it down in the description below as well. This is a hyper-offense team, and Matteo compared the Pyroar to essentially Miraidon. For those of you that may have played in Scarlet and Violet, Miraidon, of course, won the World Championships, is just an absolute offensive nuke, and it feels like Pyroar is kind of the replacement for it here. The idea is that Pyroar just has a ton of multipliers, whether it be the Sun from Ninetales, the Fake Tears from it, the Helping Hand from Farigiraf, and of course, Pyroar's ability. So there are very few Pokemon in the format that can actually reliably take something like a boosted Overheat, right? Because even if you resist it, you are still losing over half your health most of the time. And so this is just a really difficult Pokemon to deal with, and of course, it's incredibly speedy as well. Heat Wave gives you a consistent Fire-type attack that of course hits both of your opponent's Pokemon, and Solar Beam gives you coverage into things like Swampert as well as Basculegion. That Solar Beam is actually going to be really important in the matchup against Rain Team specifically. So to set up the Sun for Pyroar, you've either got, of course, regular Kanto Ninetales with Drought, or the Whimsicott with Sunny Day. Both are quite good. Sunny Day from Whimsicott is especially helpful against weather-based teams like opposing Rain. Ninetales otherwise can often be led with Pyroar against teams that don't have weather, and you can just start spamming things like double Heat Wave or Fake Tears into an Overheat/Heat Wave, for example. One thing to note about Pyroar is that it still does not love going up against Dragon-type Pokemon in particular, right? Because, of course, they can resist Heat Wave, they can resist Overheat, Solar Beam. So having a Fairy-type is really valuable, and this team has 2. You've got Whimsicott, which actually is a huge offensive monster on this team. Like, don't underestimate just max special attack Moonblast from this Pokemon. But then you, of course, also have a Mega Floette. So the idea behind Floette is that it can be really good into things that otherwise would be kind of annoying for Pyroar. Like, some Pokemon I don't like going up against with Pyroar include things like Dragonite, as well as Komodo, because they can sustain for a good period of time and actually trade quite positively into you. But of course, Floette can be really good into those. Garchomp obviously is one of the most common Pokemon in the format, and Whimsicott and Floette both really threaten it for a ton of damage / just an immediate knockout, depending on how it's trained, especially with something like Floette. To round things out, you've also got Farigiraf, which is really valuable in blocking priority, and potentially reversing Trick Room. You can set up Trick Room with this team as well, but most of the time I would say you're probably not going to because you're so fast on the Pokemon. And so the idea behind the Farigiraf is it's super good into the fake out cycling teams, right? Things like Incin plus the Mega Floette, for example. Being able to block that fake out means that then the Basculegion can immediately do a ton of damage. And I think Basculegion is kind of an unsung MVP of this team. Obviously, Pyro is going to be the star, but Life Orb Basculegion is ridiculous. And when you combine it with Whimsicott and Farigiraf support, it's really difficult to basically deal with this Pokemon. It'll often knock out one Pokemon on your side before you can even really get a hit off. And so it means you can lead Whimsicott Basculegion, pressure with something like Tailwind into Wave Crash immediately, or Farigiraf Basculegion, use Farigiraf to block things like Sucker Punch from Black Glasses King Gambit, and just click Helping Hand Wave Crash immediately. So it's a really, really well-constructed team, like super, super impressive. And this was used for, an open team sheet best of 3 tournament. I think it feels even stronger often in the best of 1 ladder. So the stats are pretty straightforward across the board. Main things to note are that the Basculegion has some speed and bulk investment. The idea here is that you have Tailwind for it. So most of the times the Basculegion will be operating on their Tailwind already. So you have exactly enough speed to outspeed max speed Mega Aerodactyl under Tailwind. There's actually a lot of bulk in this as well, so the HP and the defensive investment helps you survive against things like King Gambit, for example, as well as Solar Beam from Charizard, which is really, really handy. And so I often find that with this Basculegion, like even if you don't set up Tailwind, this thing can still survive a big attack and get a return 1-hit knockout. And if you set up this Tailwind, well then, the speed, not running max speed doesn't matter on it, right? So it's really impressive. Farigiraf here, a ton of bulk, as you can see here, between defense and special defense. You are offensive in the sense that you have Twin Beam as well as Thunderbolt. So Twin Beam, really good coverage in things like Sneasler, for example. Specifically Sneasler, being able to just threaten it with the one shot is really nice. Thunderbolt, really good into things like Basculegion as well as opposing Mega Charizards. But at the end of the day, yeah, you have a lot of defense and special defensive bulk to work with. So yeah, I think this team, it just hits hard, it hits fast, and it makes Mega Pyroar look absolutely awesome. In terms of playing with the team, there are a couple of modes that I found to be particularly strong. The first is Kanto Ninetales plus the Mega Pyroar. This is good into teams that have limited speed control, especially if they don't have something like their own Tailwind Whimsicott. Also good into teams with few fire resistances, and setup-oriented teams with Pokemon like Mega Delphox, Mega Floette, and Fake Out cycling. The idea is that Ninetales plus the Pyro can immediately start putting out massive amounts of offensive pressure, and you'll often be able to basically knock out a Pokemon before your opponent even really gets the chance to move, which is super nice. Farigiraf can be used, of course, to block priority, so if you're up against teams with a lot of Fake Out cycling, this is valuable in being able to switch in immediately to block something like Fake Out onto the Pyro and use Pyro to just immediately start picking up knockouts. There's a lot of weather running in the format, especially rain right now, so against those teams, you often want to lead Whimsicott as well as Pyroar. The idea behind this is that you can Sunny Day immediately with Whimsicott, and Pyroar can threaten something like Solar Beam onto Mega Blastoise. So this is really effective into also teams with Mega Frostlass, for example, because you can just Sunny Day after they Mega Evolve and take away the chance to Aurora Veil while also outspeeding the Frostlass and just threatening it with an immediate knockout. So into rain teams or Mega Frostlass teams, I generally like this combination. You don't always have to lead Pyroar with this team, and I actually think one of the best leads with the team is Whimsicott Basculegion. I think a lot of times people look at a team like this and they think that you can just lead Pyroar in every game and win every game because of it, but the reality is that often you have to put in a little bit of work to chip away at your opponent's Pokemon. I think Pyroar is absolutely incredible if you are able to position it when your opponent's Pokemon are all around 50% health or less, because at that point, even if they resist you, you'll still likely knock them out with boosted heat waves in the sun, for example. But if you're up against a team that has a lot of different Pokemon that can resist Pyro early on, Basculegion often is really effective in being able to pick up early knockouts and threaten things that otherwise would give Pyro a lot of trouble. So against kind of the standard big 6 teams that you might be used to seeing with Pokemon like Whimsicott, Garchomp, Charizard Y, this is really strong. It's also good into the Mega Aerodactyl versions that use Mega Aerodactyl over Whimsicott, and these were some of the best performing teams at the North American Internationals. Basculegion, of course, with Tailwind is faster than Max Speed Mega Arrow, so you can just pressure with something like Tailwind into Wave Crash immediately, then use Pyro afterwards. So I think Life Orb Basculegion, this set just feels like one of the most broken sets in the format right now, and this team makes such good use of it, setting Pyro up for success. Now, of course, you don't always have to bring Mega Pyroar. You also can lead into your other Mega Evolution in Floette. So with Floette, I often like something like Whimsicott Floette lead with Basculegion and Ninetales in the back. Generally, I like to drop Mega Pyroar if my opponent has, for example, Ceruledge on their team composition, or they just have a team with a ton of fire resistances. For example, maybe a team with Dragonite, Garchomp, and Incineroar all in team preview means that it's not going to be very friendly for Pyroar, but fairy damage is going to be a lot more aggressive and strong. And so against teams like those, I'll want to just lean into Floette. Don't underestimate them. the amount of damage that Whimsicott can do as well, because with that Fairy Aura, you actually will be able to chip away really significantly and threaten things like Garchomp, for example. And so part of the skill of using a Pokemon like Mega Pyroar is determining when you can actually bring it and when you actually should be dropping it for the Floette. As always, this isn't exhaustive, just meant to give you a quick understanding of the combos. In terms of weaknesses, there are a couple of things I wanted to call out in particular. First of all, Ceruledge is absolutely the best Pokemon against Mega Pyroar and just one of the best Pokemon against this team. You get to completely wall the Pyroar because of Flash Fire, and so in order to beat Ceruledge, it often means either conserving your Basculegion until the end game to knock it out, or bursting it through with things like Fake Tears into an attack from Mega Floette. But if you are going up against this team and you really, really are frustrated and struggling against it, the first Pokemon you should consider adding to your team potentially is Ceruledge. Mega Pyroar also has a lot of other Pokemon that it doesn't necessarily love going up against. These are generally the Pokemon that can resist the Fire-type burst damage, and if they're paired with Recovery, like either a Citrus Berry or Sinistcha, for example, it's even more annoying. So, for example, Incineroar, Mega Tyranitar, regular multi-skill Dragonite, and Garchomp are all Pokemon that can be quite difficult to deal with for Pyroar and Ninetales specifically. Now, you know that this is a well-constructed team because, of course, you have other Pokemon like Basculegion and Floette to deal with these threats, but if you are specifically looking for a way to answer the Pyroar, well, these are certainly some Pokemon to think about. Because Basculegion is such an important Pokemon on this team, I think if you don't get enough value out of it, or if it just gets one shot before you even get an attack off, it can feel really, really bad. So some examples include Mega Raichu Y, which can just threaten you with Zap Cannon, Black Glass's King Gambit, right? This Basculegion on the team has a lot of HP, and that is generally helpful into things like non-Black Glass's King Gambit, but the Black Glasses gives the King Gambit the extra damage output that it needs to just threaten Basculegion for a one-hit knockout. Opposing Basculegion also can be pretty annoying because this Basculegion isn't that speedy, so opposing Sash Basculegions, right, can win endgames against you, so you have to be careful about that. Finally, some watchouts. I think misses are really costly with this team because you just don't have bulk on Pokemon like Pyroar, Floette, or the Ninetales. So if you miss a Helping Hand Overheat or a Fake Tears into Overheat combo, it will feel really, really bad. So just keep that in mind because you are using 90% moves, not 100% accurate moves. Also, I think Choice Scarf and Focus Sash Pokemon can trade quite positively into Mega Pyroar, so you have to be careful. For example, it would feel really bad if you have Whimsicott Pyroar, your opponent has Whimsicott Garchomp, you both Tailwind, and then they just end up being Scarf Garchomp, and then outspeeding your Pyroar and one-shotting you. That's obviously a really bad trade. Same situation for Pokemon that have Focus Sash that can survive a big burst attack and then retaliate back with a knockout. So you gotta watch out for those. As always, these are also not exhaustive, just from my time playing with the team so far. We've got Gallade, Alolan Ninetales, Incineroar, Whimsicott, Greninja, Farigiraf. I think this probably should be a Floette game, but I'm curious if I can burst my way through with Pyroar. Because I don't have any fairy resistances. And like Solar Beam actually gives me coverage into Greninja. I might honestly lead Farigiraf Pyroar. Ninetales in the back. I might want Whimsicott to match their Tailwind. Yeah. I think, honestly, Floette is probably a little bit more consistent here, but the thing about Pyroar is that it might actually catch my opponent off guard because they might be thinking, hey, Greninja's pretty safe to bring into you. You should obviously go with the Floette mode of your team. But with Solar Beam, and, like, I think Floette should scare away the Gallade as well. Gallade would be kind of annoying for Pyroar, but then we have Whimsicott, we have Farigiraf, like, yeah. Main thing is this Incineroar, but like, we can kind of still just blow it up with the combination of things like Sun plus Helping Hand or Fake Tears. So let's see. Instant Gallade. Okay. Could be Mega Gallade, I suppose. Kind of down to just Helping Hand, Mega Overheat turn 1, blow up Gallade. Mainly curious if it is Mega Gallade, Focus Sash Gallade, Choice Scarf Gallade. A lot of possibilities. Floette probably worked as a lead here too. And then I'll probably just switch Pyro out this next turn. Okay. Omega. Nice. Helping Hand Overheat. Are you sashed? Nope. Perfect. So that was the whole idea behind leading Farigiraf, blocking this fake out. Which is a Lariat. Okay, that's fine. A lot of damage on a Farigiraf, but that's okay with me. I think this next turn we can probably just switch Pyro out. You go to Whimsicott. Sacrifice Farigiraf, basically. Glade is one of the few Pokemon on my opponent's team that I think does threaten Pyro, which is why I wanted to prioritize knocking it out on turn 1. They actually bring in the Alolan Ninetales. Okay. Works for me. Gives us weather control. I'm really curious what the items are, because like low-key, I actually think we don't even necessarily need to switch if we think it's not Focus Sash on Ninetales. Greninja presumably is their 4th. Yeah, like I'm honestly kind of down to just Helping Hand Overheat again here. Let's see if they protect. No protect. Okay. It's actually Moonblast here. But that's obviously not going to do a lot to us. Looks like Scarf as well. Which makes sense. It's obviously pretty good for Garchomp. But we just pick up another KO with Pyroar. Curious if they go in for Parting Shot or just like Darkest Lariat into Farigiraf again. Cool. I mean, I think Farigiraf served its purpose in this game, which was to just block Fake Out on turn 1 and then go for Helping Hands. So I assume Greninja's their last one, but now it means I can bring in the Whimsicott. What if I just bring out Ninetales immediately? I think Whimsicott out first probably feels a little bit better. They didn't even bring Greninja. It's Whimsicott in the back for them, so no Mega. Okay. I'm happy to Tailwind just to match Tailwinds right now. Switch Pyro out into Ninetales. Then we can get a Fake Tears onto Incineroar, and then Pyro should just be able to blow it up with an Overheat. So Sun is set up. They go for a Helping Hand, which is fine. If you knock out the Ninetales, it's a free switch it into Pyroar. So we'll set up Tailwind. And Lariat. Makes sense. Doesn't knock out Ninetales. Cool. Given that, I think I'm okay to just go for Moonblast onto Incin and Fake Tears. They could theoretically Encore the Whimsicott. So we also could have contemplated switching out. But to be honest, even if they Encore us, I think it's fine. And yeah, they end up going for Tailwind instead. And the reason why I think it'd be fine is because essentially, even though my Whimsicott would be locked, like we get the Fake Tears off onto Incin. So then Pyro just comes out and blows the Incin up. That combo alone does 64%. Very nice. Cool. Ninetales will faint, but now Pyro should just be able to finish up the game. There is the threat of Encore. But it doesn't matter because I already clicked Moonblast. I think Moonblast Heat Wave here is fine. Yeah, it's interesting to see no Mega Evolution come out in this one. Alright, Pyro Heat Wave does not miss. Pyro, one hit KO, 60% to Incineroar in the sun, 99% on Whimsicott. So even though I think, yeah, Floette looked good in Team Preview, Pyro also was good. And Moonblast will deliver the finishing blow. Nice. I think the main thing here was taking advantage of the fact that, like, yes, Incineroar resists our damage, but it's not doing too much to us in return. The best thing my opponent could have probably done was like protect and then parting shot into a Pyroar, but even then, like Helping Hand Overheat is still so powerful. So Farigiraf being able to block that initial fake out, really big deal. By the way, if you've been enjoying the video, I'd really appreciate if you considered leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel. Been putting a lot of effort into making these videos, from learning the teams to summarizing how to play them for all of you, so it would help out the channel a ton as we get closer to 300,000 subscribers. Thanks so much as always for tuning in and for your support. We've got Blaziken, Frigg, Whimsicott, Hydreigon, Metagross, Basculegion. I mean, Pyro looks pretty good here, right? Especially in a Metagross. They've got their own Tailwind. I think I'm okay just going with Whimsicott, Pyroar, Ninetales. No priority we really need to block, so I don't think we need Farigiraf. I feel like Life Orb Basculegion is fine as a fourth for late game last respects. Main thing to note here is that like we'll lose the speed war. Actually, you know, this could be a regular Floette game. I think I'll still go Basculegion, because like Basculegion at least can wall the Blaziken. Yeah. I thought about regular Floette mainly because it's actually not bad into Hydreigon. It like can do, you know, a lot of damage into things like Whims and Frigg as well, but we don't really have any bulk on it, and Whimsicott already gives us fairy coverage, so I think we're fine. The main thing to be cautious of is just Basculegion obviously holding on until the end game, and they have a lot of potential speed on their team as well. Metagross, Whimsicott. Okay, I mean, that's fine by me. I think we can just Tailwind turn one. Mega Heatwave. Yeah. Like, Pyro is in such a good offensive position, right? What's their way around this? Switch Metagross out? But the reality is with Pyro's ability, nothing's taking Heatwave that well. We have Sash on Whimsicott, so even if Metagross bullet punches, it's not like you knock us out. Metagross Protect would make sense here. We'll go for Mega. Okay, Metagross Megas as well. Yeah, so we just match Tailwinds. Seems fine to me. Nice. Heatwave doesn't miss. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see Metagross led for this reason. Like, I feel like Pyroar is just so good into it, but I wonder if my opponent expected me to go Floette instead, and that's part of the beauty of the dual Megas on this team, right? Like, I honestly wonder if... Yeah. Just surprised to see not Metagross like just straight up attack there on turn one, because I think Tailwind Heatwave is always super safe on my end. You kind of need to respond to that. Ooh, we've got some opposing Sun here with Mawile, Torkoal, the Vileplume, Farigiraf, Staraptor, and Aerodactyl. So Vileplume got second in a big online tournament recently, and the idea is that you can use it for after you onto Torkoal and immediately go for Eruption, which is pretty neat. Probably expect Sash, Mega Aerodactyl. You know, this is probably not Mega Staraptor, right? Final Gambit is my guess, based on the team comp, because it gives you a Trick Room mode. Like Frigg, Torkoal, like you can go Staraptor, Frigg, Torkoal, Mawile, or Mega Aero. What if I just went Ninetales Pyroar? Farigiraf, Basket Legion. That seems reasonable. What would be interesting is then the turn 1, should they lead Staraptor? Staraptor Aerodactyl. Okay. So they're going the fast route. It's Jolly max speed, I think, on Staraptor, so it's faster than Ninetales here. I'd be surprised to see a final Gambit. I'm gonna Mega Protect Pyroar on turn 1 and actually just go for Heat Wave. Yeah, so it's Mega Aerodactyl, which makes sense. Could it have been Floette here? Like, Whimsicott Floette would have absolutely demolished this as a lead, but I think that does not feel intuitive to bring into their team. Yep, final Gambit. That's why we protect. So now Heat Wave. Oh, man. Okay, it's at least on Arrow, not on Staraptor. So now final Gambit's way weaker on Staraptor's end. Tailwind? Okay. This might actually be a game where I set up my own Trick Room then, which is probably not what we were expecting coming into it, but I think I can double switch right now. Where do we think Gambit's going into? I would expect Pyroar, so we can switch in Basket Legion and Farig here. Main thing to note is that Unnerve is still active, so I can't eat my berry. Oh no, sorry, Unnerve is no longer active, you Mega'd. Just kidding. Would have been active if they did not Mega Evolve. Beautiful. This is how you play around Scarf Staraptor, by the way. Given this, I think what we can actually do is Aqua Jet Staraptor to get it even lower. And then just Trick Room. Okay, Staraptor switches. It's fine. Into Torkoal. Double switch. Probably Mawile then. They didn't bring a Mega. It's Vileplume. Okay. That's fine by me. Slightly awkward to set up Trick Room in front of a Torkoal. Tailwind to set up from their end, but I would assume it's Mint Speed Torkoal, so I'm not even sure we outpace them right now. Yeah, Torkoal should still be faster than us under Trick Room, I think, despite Tailwind being up. It's a question of whether or not they have Solar Beam or not. I think we can take an Eruption, though, so I don't mind going for Protect with Basket Legion. Twin Beam Vileplume. Torkoal protects. Nice. I mean, it makes sense. I think they don't want to take damage from Farigiraf. I mean, it could be a double on their end, so let's see if Vileplume also goes for it. Nice. Beautiful. Twin Beam actually crits, which means Vileplume doesn't faint, but I'm happy for, like, I wouldn't want to win the game off just getting a crit there. Solar Beam. Yeah, that's fine. I'm so happy. But probably not so happy to target Basket Legion there. I feel like if Torkoal had Solar Beam, it probably would have gone for it. We can always Thunderbolt Vileplume, which covers for switches. So I'm leaning Wave Crash into Torkoal here. Thunderbolt Vileplume. Yeah, they just Heat Wave. Beautiful. Cool. I think this was a really interesting game to showcase how, like, even though my opponent had a lead that looked amazing into Pyroar and Ninetales, you can find ways out of it, right? Final Gambit I thought was fairly telegraphed. And it makes sense why they didn't bring... Oh, I was like, they didn't bring a Mega, but they Mega Aerodactyl. You can see in my head this whole time, I was like, it's just regular Aerodactyl. Because I was expecting Mawile in the back. You can see the power of Life Orb there, by the way. Just rips into Torkoal and knocks it out. Nice. And we know Trick Room is still up. Staraptor is out, but we can just Wave Crash Arrow Thunderbolt for a double KO. Staraptor can't protect, blocks any priority. Not that they would have any priority to deal with us anyway. Okay. Just double checking. 2 turns of Trick Room left. Yeah, there's truly no way out of this for them. Wave Crash here, Thunderbolt here. I think this game was interesting because we never got an attack off with Pyroar, but my opponent still basically had to play in a way to totally respect it, right? Like, they try to Final Gambit us on 2 separate occasions. We use Pyroar as bait, basically. But yeah, I think there's a different world where I can go with Whimsicott and Floette. But the thing is, that mode is so bad into the Trick Room component on their team that I was like, I'd rather not do that. So I think this is a good example of, like, you're not always going to get the lead matchup right. Right, like, if we had to pick the absolute best lead into what they had, it's, I think, just Whimsicott, Floette, truthfully. So the thing about Pokemon is, like, team preview is important, picking the right Pokemon's important, but sometimes you will be in a position where, like, you don't have the favorable lead, and so you have to find ways to, like, play out of that, right? And in this game, we found a unique method, which is, like, going for Heat Wave to break the... make sure that Final Gambit would do less damage. And basically in that situation, I was saying, look, maybe you just knock out the Ninetales, but like Pyroar is kind of the bigger threat. If you knock out Ninetales, I get a free switch into Farigiraf. The game is still playable from there, right? So yeah, I think probably wasn't expecting, my opponent probably wasn't expecting to, you know, lead Staraptor Aerodactyl and then actually kind of like trade negatively, but we found a way. And if you are able to damage Final Gambit Staraptor, it's such a big deal before it gets that Final Gambit off. Staraptor, King Gambit, Garchomp, Sylveon, Grimmsnarl, Sinistcha. I think this should be very favored for Pyroar. I mean, honestly, we could go Floette as well, but, like, it's Pyroar. The main thing we'd probably have to respect is Grim Garchomp lead. You know, this could be an interesting game where I, like, use Floette to actually get rid of Garchomp. So, for example, like, Whimsicott, Garchomp, Ninetales, Pyroar. And the logic here is that I'm actually not going to Mega Evolve Floette, but I think having the Fairy-type damage for Garchomp is actually still really valuable. If we clear Garchomp, then they have no Fairy, or sorry, Fire resistances, and I think Pyroar Ninetales can just clean up super easily. Just Raptor Grim. I mean, that's also fine, right? Like, we just have so much Fairy-type damage right now. Not every day you see Flower Veil protect us like that. It's kind of funny. The main question is whether or not Grimmsnarl has Fake Out right now. They could just side parting shot immediately for a boost, but honestly, I think I'm okay just clicking double protect on turn 1. I could still Mega Floette, by the way. Like, we don't need to commit to Pyro as the Mega. They protect with their Staraptor. Okay. I mean, I just can Encore that slot, so... Light screen. Okay. That's fine. Like, I'm down to just... I don't have Encore. JK. Down to Tailwind Light of Ruin, then. Staraptor switches, sure. To Gambit, okay. Maybe a Parting Shot here, maybe a Reflect, could also be a Spirit Break. Parting Shot. Fine. Question is whether or not there's a Garchomp in the back. Raptor's just coming back in. -1 Light of Ruin, Baby Floette. Light Screen's going to do like 40% max. 36. Nice. Right around the money there. This turn is interesting. I would expect Staraptor to just attack. So I should be down for Moonblast plus Light of Ruin into it. Okay, they do protect, but that's fine. If you knock out the Floette, I get a free switch in into Ninetales. Sucker Punch. Oh, Sucker's pretty interesting. Does put me in... Because it's Life Orb, it actually puts me in KO range of another Sucker. Interesting. That's actually very interesting. Yeah, I figured Floette could survive with 2 Suckers there, but not if it's like that. I'm actually down to just protect Light of Ruin again here, though. The $1,000,000 question is also whether or not there's a Garchomp in the back, because if not, then like Pyro can just kind of come out this next turn and start spamming damage. But I think they did a pretty good job playing around this Floette, honestly. Rim in. I wouldn't be surprised to just see another Sucker Punch. No Sucker Punch, though. We get a Light of Ruin off. That's big. That's a lot of damage still, right? Like, I cannot be too upset about that. Iron Head, yeah. I can bring in Pyroar or bring in Ninetales. Go for Ninetales first, because I don't want Pyroar to eat up a parting shot and have its stats dropped. Like, I think here, Moonblast into Grim, Heat Wave is generally pretty safe. Still begs the question as to whether or not there's a Fake Out on Grim. Kind of hard to Fake Out, though, because you normally want both screens parting shot. Yeah, so Gambit protects, sure. Parting shot, or just a... Okay. But, like, what are you bringing in, right? Whatever is switching in eats up a Moonblast and a Heat Wave. And at this point, everything is getting chipped away enough where I think Pyro can just come out and then start spamming Heat Wave in the end game. It's going to be Garchomp, but, like, now you eat up a Moonblast with that. Fake Tears could have been kind of cool. Plus Moonblast into that slot, but... I think we still kind of need to pressure the Garchomp slot. Or sorry, the Gambit slot. The main question I have now is whether or not this is Choice Scarf Garchomp. If you're my opponent, it would make sense to switch King Gambit out. I think here I'm okay going for Tailwind and Heat Wave. Because we are now getting to the point where I think... Yeah, Gambit switches. Into Staraptor, sure. Basically, the play... the reason I went for this was because I wanted to cover for Scarf Chomp. And if there's Scarf Chomp, they could Sucker Punch, Poison Jab my Whimsicott. And I would lose the game there off that. So, like... We get some chip damage here. Garchomp probably Earthquakes, but now I have Tailwind up, and I have Pyroar in the sun as Tailwind's about to expire. Or sorry, as we set up Tailwind, right? Of course, I could have just Moonblasted Garchomp there, but like I said, I think I need to respect it being Scarfed, and then the Sucker Punch Poison Jab play into Whimsicott. And since I didn't see a Citrus Berry on Chomp, I think assuming it could be Scarfed is not a terrible assumption. And as you see here, no Life Orb either. I'm still thinking it could be Scarf. Anyway, now we have Pyro out in the sun, and everything is pretty low, so I think Heat Wave should be able to clean up. I'm down to just Moonblaster after Heat Wave here. I think they've done a good job playing through what I honestly is a really tricky matchup. Grim switches in. I think the expectation would be for a Protect here from Staraptor, but let's see. Like, we have the speed advantage right now, yeah, so they do go for the protect, but that's fine. Heat Wave. Nice, doesn't miss. So, even with Light Screen up, this is the whole point of getting all this chip damage in the early game, right? Like, now what do? Light Screen is coming to an end soon. You just protected. I still get to click Heat Wave across the board. Sucker Punch shouldn't KO either of these. So now King Gambit comes in, but I just Moonblast Heat Wave again. Like, I think their only hope is for a miss. Because Pyro should clean. I think this was a pretty cool game to feature, though, because regular Floette actually was still really darn good. Like, even though it's not like it got to just Blastoraptor immediately, my opponent had to respect Floette at any given point. And to their credit, I thought they did a great job of... Okay, so they go for a Protect. If Heat Wave misses here, we lose still, which is scary. Okay, it doesn't miss. Good job, Pyro. I love that it, like, shakes its head when it goes for that. So much damage. Cool. The bird has been taken down. Light Screen wears off. Can I win this without risking misses? I mean, Moonblast isn't going to KO Gambit. Last turn of Tailwind. Yeah, I'm just going to Heat Wave Moonblast here. They would need to have Protect on Guard Chomp, not be Scarf Chomp, go for Heat Wave. Or I miss Heat Wave. Well, Moonblast would still finish Chomp, actually. Yeah, so... Okay, yeah, Gambit just goes for a double. My guess is that they were Scarf Chomp. Which is why I want to make sure I Moonblast the Guard Chomp slot to cover for a miss in that position. So, basically, like, in this game, I was like, look, Pyro just cleans up everything if like... there's no Guard Chomp, and so getting any damage on a Guard Chomp was really important, which is why I wanted to have the positioning of like Whimsicott and Floette early on. My opponent actually did a really good job of not bringing that Guard Chomp on until later out, but the turn that it switched in and when Grimmsnarl parting shot it made it really awkward for my opponent because it just ate up way too much damage and then put us in a really advantageous position. Golden Go, Incin, Basculegion, Guard Chomp, Whimsicott, as well as Charizard. I think I like Pyro here because of the speed, but I also kind of want Whimsicott. If I were my opponent, I would think about leading Whimsicott Garchomp. If that's the case, Floette's actually pretty good. Could also just be Whimsicott Basculegion, honestly. Ninetales Pyroar. Let's see, if you're my opponent, I think you don't bring Golden Go out. And I guess if you don't bring Golden Go out, Floette becomes more appealing. I think I'm okay with this, though. Yeah, like, we're super bulky on Basculegion, so even if they have the speed advantage, that's okay, because I can often retaliate back with the knockout. Farigiraf would be valuable just to block Fake Out, and then it does have Thunderbolt for Charizard and Basculegion. Don't know if I love it here. Key thing is that my opponent has 4 things that resist fire, and Charizard, Garchomp, Basculegion, and Incineroar, but, like, the thing about Pyroar is that they just, like, aren't really true resistances unless you're Flash Fire. Right? Like, with the Sun, with the ability, with Helping Hand, it just still does so much damage. Garchomp, Charizard. Okay. I'm fine with that. I mean, I think against this, I don't mind just going Tailwind Wave Crash turn 1. Into Zard. And I think what's important about using Pyroar, it's like, where can you get even just 50% of damage, right? Because if you are able to get a chunk onto your opponent's Pokemon, then it means that Pyroar can come out and then just start spamming damage. Charizard's going to Mega Evolve, so they also just set up the Sun, meaning that I don't need to switch in Ninetales, which is nice. Garchomp Protect, okay. Makes sense because you kind of want to conserve it, right, to deal with Pyroar, but I think here, because I know I can survive an attack from Garchomp, I'm always targeting Charizard. So let's see if they're bulky enough to survive Life Orb, Wave Crash, and Sun. This Pokemon is so ridiculous, man. So the value of Life Orb over Mystic Water, even stronger. And yes, we take a lot of recoil, but I'll take that trade any day, because now I pressure with Moonblast Wave Crash this next turn. They probably bring out their own Whimsicott. Yeah. It's an interesting question. Do you actually Encore here? Like, I think I should switch Whimsicott out to deal with the threat of Encore. Go out into Ninetales and just Wave Crash into Garchomp. They could Earthquake here, but I think it's going to be Sash on Whimsicott. I don't think it makes that much sense to Earthquake your own. But if they actually end up Earthquaking here, that'd be a fantastic play by them. So the main thing here is, like, my Whimsicott obviously pressures Garchomp with Moonblast. So I can Moonblast Wave Crash, but if you're my opponent, then your play would be to Encore my Whimsicott before I can get the Moonblast off. So I think a switch here is generally safe, especially because Basculete Legion I don't think will faint. Unless they actually click Earthquake with Garchomp, and it's like Wave Crash with the recoil and Life Orb puts me in EQ range. That could be scary. But ideally, we see something like Encore Stomping Tantrum, and then I get a free switch him back out into Pyroar. They just Tailwind, though, so that actually could have been a Moonblast. But that's fine. They went for it. Nicely done. Wow. They were willing to Earthquake themselves. It's honestly fine, though, because we know that it's not Scarf Garchomp, which makes all the difference, actually. Yeah, they went for what I think is basically the perfect play in that position. Like, if I had just stayed in with Whimsicott, clicked Moonblast, I think we win the game on the spot. So, very nicely done by my opponent there. That being said, it still feels totally fine. Like, because now I just get Pyro out, right? Question is whether or not they have an Incineroar in the back. Incineroar Basculete Legion is what we'd expect, right? Down to Mega, Heat Wave here, and just Moonblast into Garchomp. Like, even with my opponent going with what was the absolute best play that turn, our positioning is still fine, which is why I was willing to make that play. Because in the world where they go for what I think is the best play, which is Encore, and I stay in with Whimsicott, then I'm actually in a really awkward position the following turn. Whereas here, yes, I've lost 2 Pokemon, but I got key damage onto the Garchomp and confirmed its item as well. But yeah, nicely done by my opponent, because I think my obvious play of Moonblast Wave Crash there, I think for Encore now. Actually miss on the Whimsicott. Heat Wave still KOs Garchomp. Unfortunate miss. I think if he hit that, the game's just over on the spot. Surprised to see them click Encore there. Like, I'm trying to think. Maybe they want to get around me. I just think it's always more optimal to Moonblast there, so you at least get some damage. Unless they thought I was going to go for a priority move with Whimsicott. Their last one's Golden Go, so Pyro obviously just crushes that. Overheat here and Moonblast. Nice. Overheat doesn't miss. This is probably just like 400% to this Pokemon. Yeah, like, I think even if Whimsicott went for anything else, it would have been fine. The play I was probably most worried about would have been a Protect from their end. But yeah, I think this game highlights how Basculete Legion can clear the field for Pyroar later on in the match. But that was a really nice self-Earthquake play. Like, that was very, very well done. Charizard, Venusaur, Sneasler, Garchomp, Incin, Whimsicott. This is 5 of the 6 of the team that I built on day 1 of the format, but with Whimsicott over Rotom Wash. So let's see how it fares. Farigiraf, honestly, could be valuable here. Garchomp. This feels kind of awkward, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it's just Whimsicott Basket Legion lead. Ninetales Pyroar. Could be something over at Ninetales as well. I feel like it should be Farigiraf, honestly, actually, over something. This might be crazy. I'm actually thinking Whimsicott Farigiraf. Pyroar. Basket Legion. Basically, like, we have Twin Beam, right? And they've double Fake Out and 2 things weak to Psychic in Sneasler and Venusaur. So I think Farigiraf's actually really interesting for that reason. Whimsicott Incineroar. Okay. You can't Fake Out here on turn 1. Frig's in kind of a weird spot, though. I might honestly lean towards just doubling up on Whimsicott turn 1 with Moonblast and Twin Beam. Are we going to just trade here? That'd be funny. I think that might be the case. Although this probably favors my opponent more than me, I would argue. Instant slower. So no Tailwind from their end, but also means no Tailwind from my end. I'm not actually sure that's great for us. I think it should be Garchomp in the back as well as Charizard. Okay, they split their damage, so I do get Tailwind up. That's a big deal, actually. I think Whimsicott Basket Legion would have worked out fine here. I would have been able to just Tailwind Wave Crash in turn 1. Just don't know if it's Posho Berry or not. Charizard comes in. That's fine. Am I willing to go down to my final 2 Pokemon? I think the answer is yes. I'm happy to just click Tailwind here. Thunderbolt into Zard. Because then I'm going to have 2-stack Last Respects Life Orb Basket Legion next to Pyroar, and I should do around 50% to Charizard, so it should be in Heat Wave KO range, I think. Set up Tailwind. Actually, I'm not sure if Heat Wave KOs at 51. Throat Chop, yep. Okay. Their last one's going to be Garchomp, Sneasler, or Venusaur. All which are generally okay. I could keep on Nerve to prevent Posho, but I think I'm just going to go for Mega here. Heat Wave. Question is whether or not I want to Last Respects the Instant instead, but I think I just go for Wave Crash. They stay in. That's good. Yeah, Zard protects. It's not a major surprise. Heat Wave. Doesn't miss. That's good. I think it should KO if you're not Posho here. Okay, no Posho. That's big. Nice. It's like Posho doesn't feel super necessary when you already have Charizard on the team, right? So I figured it's more likely it's either Citrus or Chople. What's their last one? Venu? If it's Venu, we probably Aqua Jet Heat Wave. Oh, it's Sneasler. Okay, that is good news for us. That can't beat Basket Legion. Their win con might be double protect Sneasler. I think this is White Herb Sneasler. I'm happy to just Heat Wave here. Last respects, Charizard. Cool. They just fake out Pyroar. Yeah. We just need to target Charizard here. Beautiful. Yeah, so you can see how good this team is at, like, kind of revenge sweeping, right? I lost both of my Pokemon early, but we had gained enough momentum out of it that it was totally okay. Overheat, last respects. Only way for them to win now would be protect into... What? They... Sneasler being... Is it even... Because we're... What's our power speed again? Double check. When Peter's out. Yeah, we're timid max. So... Actually, there's really no shot here. Cool. Overheat hits, and that should be a one-hit KO. Yeah, like I said, I think the Sash should be on Whimsicott, so White Herb on Sneasler makes more sense. Nice. I think the lead probably felt a little bit weird, and I wonder how the game would have played out if Whimsicott fainted on turn 1. It's not like I needed Tailwind in this game, especially with no Scarfer on their team, but yeah. Metagross, Charizard, Sylveon, Garchomp, Aerodactyl, Hisuian, Samurott. This one is kind of funky. I don't think we need Farigiraf here because I don't think the priority block's important. So it's some combination of the others. But the question I have is, do I want Floette in this one? Because it's quite good into a lot of the team. An argument for Farigiraf actually would be priority block if it's like Bullet Punch Metagross, but that's practically it. I assume it is non-Mega Aerodactyl. Leaning Whimsicott, Basket Legion, Ninetales, Pyroar. But I think you can make a reasonable argument for Floette in this one. Like, because it would make sense for them to potentially drop Charizard, or sorry, drop Metagross for Charizard. And if there's no Metagross, then I think Floette's really good into everything that's not named Charizard. Same we're at Garchomp. Okay, that's fine. What you think about Moonblast Protect here on turn 1? It's a little bit risky. Like, I think I could always Tailwind with Whimsicott, Wave Crash into Garchomp, which is also acceptable. Maybe that's better, honestly. Because I think in a world in which I don't get Tailwind up on turn 1, it's a disaster. Garchomp switches, which makes sense. Like, Aerodactyl is not a Pokemon you want to switch in here. I assume they're going to Ceaseless Edge into... Oof. That is why you train Basket Legion defensively. That is big. Although Protect Moonblast, like I initially was thinking it would have worked, but this is also fine. Was not expecting Sucker Punch there. That's cool. I think I probably go out into the Ninetales first. And then I think we can just go Moonblast Solar Beam here. Moonblast into Samurott. Solar Beam into Arrow. I could have doubled up on Samurott there, but I think we should respect it protecting, and I think we definitely don't want Aerodactyl to get a Tailwind or Dual Wing Beat off right now, so I'm always happy to target it, right? Like, Ninetales sets up the Sun, so it means your Water-type attacks do less damage to us. This should do a ton. Oh. I didn't think that would just KO, but I'm guessing they were just max attack, max speed, no bulk, maybe? I'll take it. I'm not going to complain about that. Charizard in. Chomp in. It would make sense for Garchomp to protect right now. Two turns of Tailwind. I don't mind protecting Whimsicott here and going for Solar Beam into Garchomp. If Garchomp protects, that means Charizard is not going to KO us. They might just Heat Wave, but then the next turn I just Moonblast Solar Beam. If Garchomp doesn't protect, I get Solar Beam off. Pyro gets to come out. I then should be able to win the game from there, I think. Because I know Tailwind's going to expire after this subsequent turn, I want to be able to set up another Tailwind potentially, right? So yeah, Garchomp protects, that's fine. I think the only thing I'm worried about now, if you are actually Citrus or Roselli Chomp, that could pose some issues. I actually don't Heat Wave that Weather Ball. Nice. This is where I wish I had Encore, but it's fine. Life Orb kind of feels like the standard on Chomp these days, but obviously Roselli and Citrus were two of the best items in Garchomp in the previous regulation, so let's see if they have it. I just feel like if you have it, it wouldn't actually make that much sense to make that Protect play like they did. %, good damage. No Roselli. Nice. That should be a KO. So you can see how important Whimsicott is on this team, right? Because like Garchomp is such a big threat otherwise, obviously, to the Ninetales Pyro core, but being able to hit it for super effective is just so nice. Okay. Tailwind Peter's out. Yeah, they just ended up forfeiting. Nice. Didn't even need to bring Pyro in this one, but obviously could have closed things up for us here. I think the main thing was we didn't let them set up Tailwind and basically just had the speed advantage that entire game. Charizard, Sneasler, Dragonite, King Gambit, Garchomp, Floette. So they have Chomp, they have Dragonite. Maybe this should be a Floette game over Pyroar, given that. It could be something like Whimsicott, Basculegion, Farigiraf, Floette. Feels okay. Is it right to drop Pyroar here? I just think Dragonite's actually super bad for Pyroar and Ninetales. Because you're either Mega or you're not, but either way, I would expect multi-scale on a non-Mega set, and that just means that I like cannot clear you quickly enough, right? If it was just Garchomp, fine, but it's Garchomp and Dragonite. So these are Dragonite, yep. What do they even do here on turn 1? Sash Sneasler would make sense here. Could be even coaching. I don't hate going for Protect on Whimsicott and then Last Respects onto Dragonite to break multi-scale. Yep, fake out, cool. Thunderbolt. Okay. This is not going to do very much damage, but it was just to break multi-scale. Does Moonblast KO Dragonite from that? Lefties as well, huh? Interesting. I don't think I need to conserve Basculegion right now, I'm not going to lie. Might want to switch into Farigiraf then. Moonblast Dragonite, switch Farigiraf is what I want to do. I don't know if Moonblast KOs this Dragon. Like, lefties Dragonite, not really a common set. These are protects, okay. I'm trying to probably protect in front of an Encore, which makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Dragonite's quite bulky, survives. I wonder if Aqua Jet would have helped there. It does get a special attack drop. And a Tailwind. Okay. This could be a Trick Room then, from my end. Still have to really worry about Gambit in the back. Like, do they have it? Sneasler could switch into Gambit right now. I could also just match their Tailwind instead of Trick Rooming. Okay, I'm going to go protect Twin Beam here, but they could switch Sneasler out. Okay, no switch, which is I'm very happy to see. It is CC into Frig. It's fine. Should survive a double up here. Yep, it's White Herb. Okay. Nice play. I mean, it is Draco, but because we had the special attack drop, I knew this was always super safe. Otherwise, I probably don't protect there. And even without the drop, I think we would survive. So it's Tailwind, Draco, Thunderbolt, Leftovers, Dragonite, which is fascinating. But yeah, Pyro, I don't think would have been super good into that. So... Oh, Dragonite's at -3. It's kind of a Floette waiting room right now. Still a question of what they have in the back. Could be their own Charizard. If you have Zard, I think this is a good opportunity to bring it out. It's Chomp, though. Okay. Chomp, chomp, chomp. It's great news for Floette in the back. I mean, Dragonite's at -3. I kind of feel like it needs to switch out. Switching out... Like, I want to delay my Tailwind as much as I can, basically. Just don't know what their last move is. Like, it might still just be safer to click Tailwind here. Thunderbolt in case they go Nazard and we catch it. Yeah, they switch. I also didn't want to get hit by Poison Jab and then get poisoned because I think that was really bad. So I'd rather just like guarantee my Tailwind and then play the game from there. Yeah, they just Earthquake. That's fine. I thought about Helping Hand Moonblast there, which would have just KO'd Garchomp, I think, and then probably put us in a really good spot because then I can delay Tailwind even more, but this is still fine. So now I bring Floette in. Last turn of Tailwind on their end. We're modest max here, so I think we should respect max speed Garchomp. I actually wouldn't mind Whimsicott fainting. And I also think it's probably better to get damage on a Charizard. So we're going to Moonblast Charizard Mega here, protect to get Fairy Aura up. Because we staggered Tailwind by 2 turns, it means that now this endgame Basculegion plus Floette's looking really good. But yeah, I think like Pyro just would have been kind of tough to execute in this one because of this Dragonite and Garchomp. Like, I think if your opponent has like 2 things that resist fire, it gets a lot harder. And they have 3 with Charizard as well. Okay, Floette protects here. We get Moonblast off. Every little bit of damage adds up on Charizard, so I'll take that. Garchomp moves before Charizard. It's not a major surprise. Not Scarf on Chomp. Maybe it's better to Moonblast Garchomp there to cover for Roselli Berry now that I think about it. Because I think Charizard would have been brought low enough where Life Orb Last Respects KOs anyway. So I think in retrospect, I probably like targeting Garchomp more there. Bring Basculegion in now. 2 turns of Tailwind. I mean, I think I can just Last Respects here. I need a Light of Ruin. Like, even if they're Roselli, it's just so strong. It could miss, though, is the downside. Zard does protect. Okay. So now is the $1,000,000 question on Garchomp's set. Okay, no Roselli. So unless you're Sash for some weird reason. Cool. I think maybe Moonblast is still just more optimal there, honestly, now that I think about it. Like, because I don't know. I was thinking if you're Roselli Berry, but you have no bulk, maybe we still one-shot with Light of Ruin, which was the logic there. Dragonite in, they can Extreme Speed. It's the last turn of Tailwind, though, so they would need to double protect with Charizard right now. Even with the double Floette, might just outspeed Zard, so then I can still just Aqua Jet Dazzle next turn. So I think we should be okay. They do get it. All right, makes this more interesting. But Dragonite doesn't protect, so I think we might still be fine. That faints. Last Respects into Protect. Just double check the number of turns of Sunletter left. 2 turns left. So I think it's fine to just double protect here. Burn a turn. The question is, do we think Heat Wave in the sun knocks out Basculegion if I eat up Life Orb? So let's see what they click here. It is Heat Wave. Okay. Basically, this next turn, it's a question of... I mean, I do... It's like, this is Life Orb Aqua Jet we're talking about. Like, I think I can just click Aqua Jet. And Light of Ruin. Because this is bulky Basculegion, I think I survive Heat Wave. So let's see how fast they are. Nice, we're faster. Okay, Light of Ruin. Sweet. So even with the double protect, we still win. I want to do the Light of Ruin calc on a Garchomp right now, because like I think that turn was the main play. I was debating whether or not that was the right play. But I feel like we were in a good spot basically for all of that match. Okay, I feel validated. This is exactly why I went for Light of Ruin. You can see if they're like bulky Garchomp with Roselli Berry, then Moonblast is never a KO, but Light of Ruin is still going to knock it out with Roselli Berry, which is absolutely nuts. So this is the main thing that I was covering for, and I figured it was worth potentially missing in order to get that knockout in case they are Roselli. Because I thought you would protect in front of us if you weren't Roselli. Like, that was part of the logic as well. So given the lack of protect the previous turn, I was like, probably important to just get the knockout onto it. It's probably fine to just Moonblast Garchomp because like Basculegion with Last Respects would have cleared Charizard anyway, so I'm not sure I actually needed the chip damage onto it. And it would also cover for like Citrus, or sorry, not Citrus, Focus Sash Garchomp. Rain, rain, go away. Come again another day. I actually don't, I mean, we have Sunny Day on Whimsicott, so I think that should be huge in this matchup. The Overquill is the main like wild card in my opinion. Like, I feel like I can honestly just lead Whimsicott Pyroar. Basculegion, Ninetales. And just Sunny Day. Like, Solar Beam is huge on Pyro here, right? Because it threatens their only Mega Evolution in Swampert. I mean, we could have brought Floette here, but I honestly kind of like Pyro more because of Solar Beam. Like, I can... Okay, I think the one interesting wild card here is actually the Glimmora. How do I deal with Glimmora, actually? Maybe I should have led Whimsicott Basculegion out of respect for Glimmora specifically. Swampert Pelipper, that is the dream lead. We are very happy to see that. Unless this is Choice Scarf Pelipper, in which then I would Sunny Day, and then they would immediately change the weather afterwards. But I think here I'm happy to just Sunny Day, Mega Evolve, and Solar Beam into Swampert. I could predict Protect on Swampert, like Solar Beam Pelipper, but the thing is, with the sun up, Pelipper, if you use Weather Ball into Pyroar, doesn't do anything. You, like, have low accuracy Hurricane as well, which is not that scary. So, let's see. But I'm hoping I'll just lull my opponent into a false sense of security here. I think the play should always be to protect from Swampert on their end, but if they get greedy and don't, I honestly think we just win the game on turn 1. Because if Swampert gets cleared, there's just such little pressure. So it still could be Scarf Tailwind from Pelipper or Rain Dance. Okay, it's not. Nice. Nice. It is very satisfying getting a one-hit knockout onto that Pokemon, let me tell you. They were Rain Dance too. So what they were expecting was Ninetales to switch in. But would that even work for them? With Pelipper not being scarfed, like, yeah. Even if Ninetales had switched in, the speed order would go Pyroar first into Swampert. So, like I said, right, the optimal play for them is to protect Swampert, but even if they do, we're still in fine shape, and yeah, they just end up forfeiting right away. This is why you have Sunny Day on the Whimsicott, though. Helps so much in the rain matchup. Like, yeah, just makes all the difference there. Whimsicott, Charizard, Annihilate, Kingambit, Garchomp, Sylveon. Annihilate is interesting. No Final Gambit anymore. Could low-key be beat up Whimsicott. Whim's lead feels fine here. Leaning Whimsicott Basculegion. I don't know if I want Pyro or Floette more. Could be regular Floette as with Pyro as well. Okay, I'm going to go with Ninetales Pyro here, but I think you definitely could make an argument for Floette. Let's see. Whimsicott. Okay, I would say that favors us. The thing is, we probably do need to match Tailwinds. But I'm okay going for Tailwind and just Wave Crash immediately into Garchomp. This Basculegion is like, it feels so good to lead because of how bulky it is. Garchomp does switch though, good switch. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing damage to this. We just trade Tailwinds, but this should do a ton. They're max speed as well. No surprise there, but it's just good to confirm. Do we one-shot you? No. Close, though. I don't have Encore here, so I think that's the main thing. Like, we kind of need to respect that. I'm leaning switching M-Pyroar in. I could Aqua Jet the Whimsicott. If I knock out Gambit, it actually gives them a free switch in, and I actually don't want that. I could also just protect Basculegion. I kind of like Aqua Jet here on a Whims. Ideally, they like protect Gambit Encore. Nice. That is so huge. Beautiful. Now we break Sash on Whims. I still don't know if it's Scarf Garchomp though, so I think that's the main thing that we need to show respect towards. I'm gonna Mega Heat Wave now. Switch. I think my preference is to switch Whimsicott back in right now. Yeah. They switch Whims out. Maybe it could have been a Ninetales switch in there. Yeah, I mean, it would have boosted the damage output here. It's smart of them to switch. Like, the reason why I wanted to make this play was because I was hoping to just knock Whimsicott out, and then I have staggered my Tailwind for the end game. But if this is Scarf Garchomp, I think this is still quite scary because they can get to a position where they just spam Earthquake. Nice sucker as well. Really well done. It's not bad damage on a Garchomp, though. Let me tell you that. But yeah, I could have gone Aqua Jet, Gambit, Heat Wave there. I mainly wanted to conserve. Basically, I would say if you get greedy, you stay in with Whimsicott, I knock you out. My Basculegion should be really good in the end game. They bring Zard out. I think here, with it being the last turn of Tailwind, I don't mind double protecting. The one risk in this is if they hard swap Whimsicott in this turn. They don't. Okay, that's huge. Because I think now, this next turn, I pressure with Tailwind Overheat into the Garchomp slot. I just, like, I don't know if it's Choice Scarf Garchomp, and I think I need to show respect to that. Garchomp protects. Okay, that's also great. So we know you're not Scarfed, but that is huge on the information game. Okay. I think Overheat just crushes Garchomp here in the sun, right? Single target. Does Heat Wave even KO Pyroar is my question. Because I could also just Moonblast Garchomp here. Overheat Charizard. I think I like that a little bit more. Okay, Overheat doesn't miss. So much damage. Wow. That did 69%. No Roselli. Okay. I figured it wasn't Roselli because otherwise I think protecting doesn't make that much sense on the previous turn if you have Roselli. Heat Wave. Nice. Pyro survives. That's big. Huge. Now we have, like, I think Ninetales can clean up this game by itself. Whimsicott in. They could Encore Whimsicott. I'm down to just overheat Charizard Tailwind here. I don't think you can really get around that. Especially with Life Orb Aqua Jet plus Scarf Ninetales in the back. Like, I was expecting Pyro to go down there, and I'm like, that. I could have been happy losing both Pokemon there. So the fact that, like, we made it... Okay, cool. They let us Tailwind. We just trade Tailwinds. That's fine. And we don't miss. Good job, Pyroar. The fact that this Pokemon can just two-shot Charizard is absolutely bonkers. Like, how nuts? How nuts? Yeah. I think, you know, we had a really good lead, right? And I think they led Garchomp to try to beat Pyroar Ninetales, and I was like, I think Basket Legion just covers for those leads so effectively. So, that was nice. This is really cool. Very different from anything I've seen in the format so far, mainly because I have Scrafty and Volcarona, which, like, I feel like I'm playing old school VGC right now with Scrafty, Volk, and Gardevoir. But then you've got Grim, Sinistcha, Mouse. I mean, so the first observation is they literally don't have any fire resistances, right? So you don't have a Terra to get around it. Like, Ninetales Pyro, I think, should crush it. Yeah. The main thing is they could have Fake Out. Like, I think we bring Grimmsnarl here to block Pryo. Part of me wants to just knock out Grimmsnarl ASAP on turn 1. Okay, I'm thinking of just leading Ninetales Pyroar Farigiraf, which would block a Parting Shot. Basket Legion. But I think you could make an argument for Whimsicott over Floette in this one. Someone's win streak must come to an end. Grim Gardevoir. That's fine by me. I think the scariest option right now would probably be Fake Out into Pyro or Trick Room on turn 1. I think I'm also okay just going for Mega and then just double Heat Wave turn 1. Like, I think Pyro looks great here, but there are things that they could do to, like, scare us, right? Fake Out Pyroar, Trick Room turn 1, puts them in an okay spot. Light Screen Protect into Parting Shot turn 2 is also an option. Although I don't know if Grim survives this double Heat Wave even with Light Screen up. My guess is no, honestly, but let's see. I also could have gone Fake Tears Overheat, just, like, immediately try to snipe off Gardevoir, but I think the risk of Grimmsnarl carrying Fake Out is real, and I need to play around that. Scary face, but I don't think you... Unless you're, like, Focus Blast here as well. Is it Focus Blast? It's just Calm Mind, okay. That's fine. Although Overheat probably would have just KO'd Gardevoir in one shot there. No misses, which are huge. Yeah, I mean... That's not a bad turn, right? You kind of have to bring in Sinistcha, I feel like. Or you could bring in Scrafty, but then if you bring in Scrafty, I just switch in Farigiraf, block, Fake Out, Heat Wave. Yeah, I mean, with no fire resistances, it is just too much firepower. By the way, though, if I had gone for Fake Tears Overheat, no, that still would have been okay. It would have been different if they Scary Face Ninetales, but yeah. Okay, more rain. Golden Ghost, Swampert, Volk, Sinistcha, Pelipper, Grimmsnarl. Have Grim. I think it's some order of Whimsicott, Basket Legion, Ninetales, Pyroar. Floette's not that good into Volk, Grim, Golden. It's decent into Grim specifically, but not that great into the rest. I think I'm okay going Whimsicott, Pyroar, Ninetales, Basket Legion. You can make an argument for Farigiraf in this one because of the priority block into Graham specifically. But that's basically it. Now, I think this is interesting because there are 2 redirection users next to Swampert. But Sunny Day should help a ton on Whimsicott to deal with Swampert. All right, let's see. Champion tier from their end at some point in almost 2,000 elo, so they obviously are quite good. Ooh, nice lead. Very nice lead. Finish just Swampert. So the expectation here is they Rage Powder turn 1 and then target Pyroar. So I would like to Moonblast Swampert. And protect. This is where, if you really wanted to be mean to Swampert and you wanted a tech move, you could take a grass type attack. But we don't have one here. I'm also going to guess my opponent's like knows this composition given that they're champion tier, and like I feel like anyone in champion tier just has, you know, good sense of the meta. Yeah, so they Rage Powder here. I think it's like basically my plan is to try to bait damage into Pyro for a little bit. This is a great lead by them, like really fantastic lead. 32%. High horsepower, yeah. Do we switch Pyro out, or do we just send it? Is the question. What do we think they have in the back? Pelipper for sure, and then maybe Volk. Like here, I think I'm just gonna Sunny Day, Mega Heatwave. The hope is they just Rage Powder again. We knock out Sinistcha, do another 30 to 40% of Swampert, and put it in Moonblast KO range. They could protect Sinistcha here, which is my fear. I thought about going for Sunny Day Solar Beam and just saying, you know what, I'm going to make the read like you're going to protect Sinistcha, but I think it's Heatwave's always guaranteed value here. Okay, perfect. This is how you like try to come back from what I think was not a great lead for me and an excellent lead by my opponent. If they miss high horsepower here, by the way, game's probably just over. Yeah, Swampert's in potential KO range from a Moonblast. Oh, they Rock Slide too. That's amazing for us. We don't even faint. Crits, Whimsicott's, whatever. Okay, I am very happy with how those 2 turns played out, given the lead. I think if you looked at the lead, it looked disastrous, and we managed to come out of it quite decently. Grimmsnarl actually comes in now. Okay. Pelipper could switch in at any given point. I don't know if they have Fake Out or not. That's like the big question. Parting Shot into Pelipper is a super real play they could make, right? Parting Shot into Pyroar. Would disrespect Moonblast. I'm actually going to double protect this turn. Like, it does give Grimmsnarl the opportunity to set up a screen, but, like, that's fine. I think I want to, you know, get a sense of what they're going for here. Yep. Okay. Probably could have won the game there if I just protected Whimsicott Solar Beam, but that's a tough one to make. I'm okay going for Tailwind right now. Switching Basket Legion in. They hard swap. The hard swap there covers for a Grimmsnarl switch in, so I think that's very logical by them. that's fine. I should be in pretty good shape here, but we still need to close out the game. I'm honestly leaning towards doubling up on Pelipper here with Moonblast Wave Crash. Yeah, beautiful. That is the main reason why. This is Life Orb Wave Crash in Rain from Adaptability Basket Legion. Like, I think it KOs, but let's see. Chef's Kiss. Very nice. Oh, I'm happy about this one. I feel like we basically made an optimal play every turn. Game's not over yet, though, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, but should be in good shape. Yeah, they just had a forfeit. I mean, I can always just Moonblast Grim, Aqua Jet, Swampert the next turn. So, I think what was really key in this game is I getting baited into just clicking Sunny Day Solar Beam on turn 1. And that's why I was thinking if I were my opponent, I actually would not Rage Powder. I would just straight up protect Sinistra. If Sinistra even hangs around for an extra turn, that makes all the difference in a matchup like this. But they basically made the safe play turns 1 and 2, and I was able to punish them. And then with them not knocking out Pyroar, it gave us some more breathing room as well. So the team that my opponent's using is one of the coolest teams to come out of the North American International Championships. It was... I wonder if this is actually just straight up Chris. Chris Large used... It was Sinistcha, Gardevoir, Blastoise, Sneasler, Insane. It's like Shell Smash Blastoise, which is really cool. I mean, we do have Solar Beam for Blastoise. Frig to block the fake out. It's like triple fake out here, right? Which is pretty annoying. Leaning Farigiraf, Floette, Basket Legion. Ninetales? That seems not right. Actually gonna go Whimsicott because I think fairy damage is actually really significant here, given that there's no resistances. I don't know if this is the right approach, but basically my logic is that, like, Blastoise is obviously not amazing for Pyroar. Although one argument you could make for Pyroar is to just Solar Beam it. I mean, Pyroar wouldn't have been bad here, truthfully. Fake out Gunk Shot Acrobatics, Sneasler. It's a mind game immediately on turn 1. I lean towards Twin Beam Sneasler. Switching Basket Legion, but to be honest, I actually think Frigg is probably getting doubled up into here turn 1. Like Dark Pulse plus Close Combat, maybe. Yeah, honestly, I think leading Pyroar is okay here, now that I think about it. Because if the sun is up, Blastoise isn't that scary. Okay, it is Gunk Shot, though. That's big. Just Shell Smash. Get poisoned. I mean, it's fine. Okay, and Dark Pulse. I will take that as long as we don't flinch. I mean, Blastoise might still be a problem. Oh. That sucks. I was just about to eliminate the biggest threat to both of these. Honestly, though, if I could replay this, I'd probably just go Farigiraf plus Pyroar in turn 1. Would I? I don't know. Let's think about that later. Game's still in front of us. You just close combat Farigiraf now. Dark Pulse Basket Legion. can switch Whims and Protect, I guess, maybe as a start. Sneasler switches, okay. To Sinistcha. I think my lead still wasn't amazing in this one, so it's like even if I lose, I think there's a lot to reflect on. It's not just strictly because I got unlucky. All right, that turn works out at least. But like now what, right? If I Tailwind, they could just Trick Room. I think I am still going to Tailwind. Last respects, but if Sinistcha makes the go ahead, they don't Trick Room at least, which is good. Instant, that's a great switch in. Maybe my Pata coming back there was actually reading that and wave crashing. This is still winnable though, I think. But that was not a good last respects. And a fantastic switch in by them. Dark Pulse. Spout makes sense because I'm poisoned. Yeah, it was like Gunk Shot connect into poison into flinch turn 1 was less than ideal because it means that Sneasler is still around. I'm gonna have to pull some magic with Floette in order to win this one. Get a double Moonblast Instant here. The thing is, it has Fake Out active, but I'm hoping my opponent's scared of Farigiraf coming in, and then they protect Blastoise Parting Shot. It's just Fake Out, though. Okay. I'm assuming Blastoise is bulky enough, to be honest, to survive a... Yeah, you can... I think double Moonblast KO's Instant there, which is why I wanted to make that play. Let's just Spout. That KO's Whimsicott too. It's not good. Nice play. Like, if I switch in Farigiraf there, Moonblast the Blastoise, it's a really strong turn for us. But I'm playing from behind in this game, especially after that turn 1, so I didn't mind trying to, like, make a big play. But yeah, with no weather on their end, maybe this should have just straight up been Pyroar plus Ninetales. And then turn 1, I can just Solar Beam. Any way to win this still? 2 turns of Tailwind. Thunderbolt Para into full Para, maybe. Moonblast Instant. Blastoise switches, maybe. Should have been Twin Beam there. Yeah, I feel like the Blastoise just got to spam Water Spout a lot in this game, and that was really well done. I think I would just go Pyroar. Like, I got a little bit too spooked out by Blastoise, but, like, the moveset is Fake Out, Water Spout, Shell Smash, Dark Pulse, I think? Or no, it doesn't have Fake Out, it has Protect. So, given that, yeah. I mean, it might not be the exact same team, but that's the version that got top 4 at NAIC. And so it's like, if the sun is up, you're not actually that scary, right? Yeah. So against Sneasler, Blastoise lead, I think just straight up go with Pyroar and Ninetales. Although, I guess the question is, does Overheat KO Sneasler? And then turn 1, they still pressure with either Fake Out into Shell Smash or Protect Blastoise, close combat. So it's still kind of tricky. But I thought Floette would be good in this one. I just, yeah, like, I think we were off to a poor lead, and, like, Sneasler Blastoise just exerted way too much offense, and obviously turn 1 was really unfortunate, not getting an immediate knockout there. But I think our lead was not favored anyway. What other leads? I don't think leading Whimsicott's it, because we don't have Encore. If we had Encore, then I would go for it, because we can Encore Shell Smash or Encore Unit Water Spout. I think I honestly would just, I mean, it could be Farigiraf plus something. I think it's probably just Ninetales Pyroar, and then like there's some guessing games to start the game, but I think it's better than leading a little bit too passively, which is what ended up happening here. But I thought they also basically played perfectly. It was like really impressive. This team would have been almost entirely legal in like the 2014, 2015 era, which is so cool to see, just with Sinistra over something like a Mungus. I might bring... Do I bring regular Floette into this? I think I could go something like Farigiraf, Floette, Basculegion. And Ninetales. Is that right? Like, I'm dropping Sunny Day, Hand Pyroar? That doesn't feel amazing. What about Whimsicott, Basculegion? Floette. Pyroar. Or Ninetales. Huh. I don't know. This one's weird. I, like, want Whimsicott for Sunny Day. It also gives me Moonblast. And I like Floette more, I think, here. Okay, not a bad lead for us. My guess is that Volcarona protects on turn 1. Basically, okay, safest play for me to make right now is just Tailwind Wave Crash into Volk. Volk protects, Dragonite could get an attack off. It's not amazing. I'm leaning Protect, Basculegion, Moonblast, Dragonite. Volk switches, nice. Scrafty? That makes sense. Wave Crash Moonblast double up there would have been pretty sweet. And it is Mega Dragonite. Okay, I am okay with that. Like, you have now committed to a Mega Dragonite in a game in which I brought Floette. And that's exactly why we have Floette over Pyroar in this match. Because Pyroar is not good in a Dragonite plus Politoed. So I'm hoping they, want to target down the Basculegion here. This breaks multi-scale. Probably does around 20, 25%. Way more. What? They have, like, no bulk. Oh, that was a crit. That explains it. I was like, even with no bulk. They go for Hurricane outside of the rain. Always risky, but does connect. That's fine, though. Down to Protect here. Switch Floette in. Dragonite pivots, okay. Back into Volk. Nice move. I like that by them. Scrafty doesn't get Parting Shot anymore, so I don't think it's too threatening here. Maybe just a knockoff into us. Roselli on Scrafty would make sense given how they played that turn. I don't even need Tailwind right now necessarily, right? I could just Moonblast Dazzling. Scrafty could protect Volcarona Heat Waves. Surely it's Roselli Scrafty. Or it's, I don't think Mega Scrafty makes sense, so I think Roselli is the only logical item here. I do think I want to set up Tailwind for Basculegion is the thing. I'm going to Tailwind, Mega, and Moonblast into Scrafty. And then the hope is to get Floette Basculegion in position to sweep. Okay, no Rage Powder. Nice. I figure you wouldn't Rage Powder there because I can obviously just click Dazzling Gleam, so we get a stronger Moonblast. Oh, it's not Roselli. Nice. Okay. I'll take that. Struggle Bug. Makes sense. That's fine, though. I've cleared the main threat to Basculegion, so that can just come back out now safely. I think Politoed's going to be their fourth, but if Politoed's their fourth, Basculegion clears everything right now on their end. Yep. I'm happy to just rip Wave Crash here, and even though I'm at -1, I think just Moonblast into Politoed. Bulk protects, but I'm like happy to force it to protect because what is Politoed really going to do here, right? Like, I could double up on a Politoed, but I don't think it's worth making a prediction. We even dropped their special attack, which is fortunate. Icy Wind would be, like, the scariest thing to come out from their end. I spoke too soon. That was the scariest thing, but they fortunately miss. I mean, given that, I can just Wave Crash now and Light of Ruin. Volk switches, but that's fine. Ninetales beats that in an endgame at this point. Wave Crash probably still knocks out Dragonite in Rain. Light of Ruin also doesn't miss. Should KO, I think. Oh! Hold on. We might have a game. Oh, this just got interesting. I still don't think they ever really do enough damage, but now I assume they're going to Hypnosis again. I'm surprised Poly hung on after that Moonblast. Oh, but they miss again, unfortunately. I wish we could have played this game with it connecting. I actually think I did not respect Hypnosis enough, and I don't think I needed to be scared of Volcarona, to be honest, because, like, what's a Volcarona going to do to us? So I actually think it was probably better to just double up onto Politoed. So that's on me. Yeah. I mean, they can't win at this point, but... it's funny because I was talking about, like, worst case scenario. The worst case scenario straight up is just them having Hypnosis and clicking it. So because I didn't consider Hypnosis in that position, if I could go back and replay that turn, I actually do think it's worth doubling up on a Politoed with Moonblast Wave Crash, because, like, the worst that Volcarona can do is Will-O-Wisp us, right? And if it Will-O-Wisp us, fine. Like, you'd have to attack with Volcarona in the rain and be willing to target a Basculegion. So, yeah. I spoke too soon there. I wish, in a world where there's no Hypnosis on Politoed, then I think it's truly fine to do that, but I think Hypnosis actually is the one move that could turn things around, so that one's on me, because I just, like, kind of forgot about the possibility that I could click it in that position. Raichu, Incin, Basculegion, Sneasler, Dragonite, Alolan, Ninetales. No fairy resistances. Triple potential fake out. What if I led? But I don't think this is a Pyroar match because of Dragonite. So I'm thinking Farigiraf, Floette. Basculegion. Ninetales. And to be honest, this could even be a Trick Room game. I think Sneasler's just always a little bit spooky. And some Dragonite. Nice. That is literally, I think, the best lead we could have asked for. If I were them, I'm protecting Dragonite turn 1, parting shot into Floette. Knockout Incineroar actually does seem pretty crucial given what I have in the back, so I actually might be willing to just lean into Helping Hand, Mega, Light of Ruin, into Incin. This lead from their end was super anti-Pyro, right? Which is exactly why I didn't want to bring it here. No Mega from Dragonite. Okay, I'm hoping to see Dragonite Protect. We one-shot Incin to start. No Protect. I could have knocked out the Dragonite, but I think it's better to still clear Incin here. Yeah. Dragon Claw. That looks like Dragon Fang damage to me, but I might be wrong, since this is, I guess, more offensive for Rig. Sneasler in now would make sense. Raichu. Kind of expect them to just Zap Cannon, Floette. Like, I'm leaning Trick Room here. Light of Ruin into Dragonite. Raichu Y. Yeah, like Helping Hand Dazzling would have actually ended up working out pretty nicely, but I didn't mind making that aggressive read. It's Substitute. Okay, I mean, I think I don't mind that, right? To get 2 one-hit knockouts? Oh. That is satisfying. Trick Room goes up. Okay, my fear is it's actually Basculegion 4th and it's slower than us. That would be bad. We also have Thunderbolt, so this turn I'm thinking about Thunderbolting into Basculegion, protecting with mine. Alternative, like, could double up onto Raichu here, right? Actually, I think I like that a bit more. No Protect, that's big. The reason why I wanted to go for this, by the way, is because I figure that, like, if they target Basculegion here, we knock them out first, we set up the Sun, we have Thunderbolt to win. Okay, nice. That's big. We move first. Yeah, I think... I totally understand the substitute, just a little bit greedy on their end. Assume it's going to be Last Respects, but maybe they predicted me to Protect on Basque and Wave Crash. Okay, yeah. This is fine, though, right? Because now you have to click Wave Crash in the Sun. And I have Thunderbolt, so that's why I was willing to make this play. I could have lost, because I thought Basculegion Protect there and Raichu attack into our Basculegion was also a logical play. But can just Thunderbolt now and Solar Beam. Yep, Basculegion protects. Curious on the item on it. I think it's really important to show why Floette exists on this team, because it's not like Pyro's just going to win every single game for you. It's super good in a lot of matchups, but it would not have been good here into Incin, Dragonite, plus Basculegion. Even with Fake Tears, it's like 3 things that resist us, right? T-Bolt does over half. Is it Citrus? That would be 1. Ooh, it is Citrus. Okay, that makes this more interesting. That makes this more interesting. It's the last turn of Trick Room, still 3 turns of Sun, so they always protect here. Citrus is the one item that could have saved them. So it's not that common on Basculegion these days, right? Like Mystic, Life Orb, Scarf, Sash. Yeah, it might be enough for them to win the game here. Oh, it's not. I think we should survive another wave crash. I think they should have protected there. I kind of get the logic. 2 turns of Sun, but I think we Trick Room here because I should survive a wave crash. Their win con would be double protect to stall out Sun, whereas if I set up Trick Room, Thunderbolt, yeah, you would need more protects. Okay, they just wave crash again. Makes sense. Is that crit? Oh, it just KO'd. Wow, it looked like a damage roll there in the end. I thought we would survive that for sure after the first one. That was really close. Really, really good game. I could have just knocked out Basculegion with like Thunderbolt last respects, but I thought Basculegion totally could have protected there, so it was smart of them to just attack with both. Like, I don't mind how that endgame played out, because I think, yeah, we were super close. And I think that Wave Crash is a damage roll on Farigiraf, given how much that first one did. Like, I actually want to go back and see how much it did. So this is the Wave Crash calc against Farigiraf in the Sun. We had 155 HP before they clicked either of the Wave Crashes, so it looks like they actually low-rolled the very first Wave Crash, and then got a more reasonable roll, obviously, afterwards, because we had exactly 79 HP left. And so basically, if they low rolled here, once again, we had like a 6 and 16 chance to survive with Farigiraf in the end. But basically, we actually were going to faint to 2 wave crashes in the Sun at the end of the day. Because they were Citrus Berry, also, like, I think there's a chance that it's not like max attack, for example, right? Maybe you have like a little bit less because you have more bulk. That would dramatically change things as well. But for the sake of the calculation, I'm just assuming it's max here. So yeah, I think the Citrus is what threw everything off, right? Because everything that I had calculated in that endgame was basically, look, I have the Sun up. I know that I can 2 Thunderbolts will KO you, but because of Citrus, they essentially, I need a 3rd attack into the Basculegion, which is the difference maker in that endgame, right? So it's tough because, like, in best of 1, you just, like, it's hard to cover for every single item, right? They could be Sash, they could be Scarf, they could be Citrus, they could be a type resist berry as well. Curious where Raichu was targeting that turn. Like, I could have just gone Twin Beam into the Raichu slot and then last respects into Basculegion. But if Basculegion protects and then they knock out our Basculegion, that's really bad. So my opponent leading as much into offense as they did was actually really great. It's really smart. Like, they never protected when I was expecting them to. And it meant that I could have been a little bit more, like, you know, potentially aggressive on taking advantage of that. Like, given their Dragonite and the Incineroar lead, I could have just gone something like Helping Hand, Mega Dazzling Gleam on turn 1. I was like, if I clear Incineroar, that's a really big threat to something like Basculegion out of the way immediately, which is quite nice for us. But yeah, I don't think Pyroar really would have solved much for us there. Maybe I could have had something over the Ninetales instead, because I don't think Ninetales was necessarily amazing, but I did think having the Sun to reduce Wave Crash's damage was important. And in the end, yeah, it was basically a damage roll, but one that I think should favor my opponent, assuming they are admit max attack. Obviously, it's quite different if you're like something like Jolly instead, but I think if you are using the Citrus Berry set, it makes sense to be admit. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the climb. And yeah, I think that this team was super impressive. I feel like in the 2 losses that we had, both were definitely winnable. I'm curious how the Sneasler game would have gone if we actually got the knockout onto it. But like I said, I'm not sure I love my lead into Sneasler plus Mega Blastoise to begin with. And I think because they didn't have weather, Ninetales Pyro was also, as mentioned, probably acceptable. And then the other game against the Mega Raichu, you know, I could have gone last respects into Basculegion. If they weren't Citrus, then I think Farigiraf could close it out. It also came down to damage rolls. And so the game did feel really close at the end. And I don't think me dropping Pyro was the reason why I lost that one. So Pokemon selection felt okay. Maybe I could have just like made a little bit better plays in terms of targeting, but super, super close one as well. So I think, yeah, both games, you know, even though they were losses, certainly felt winnable, and the team felt absolutely incredible. So huge, huge shout outs to Matteo for building and sharing this team. And like I said, I think it will be a meta defining team for the weeks to come. So thanks so much as always for watching. My name is CybertronVGC, and I'll see you all soon. All right. Peace.